Alright, so the new episode of Jujutsu Kaisen meets Evangelion came out, and it was just that big mech robots fighting, or just one of them fighting Mahito in this case. And in this video, I'm just going to be talking about it, discussing it. So to just put this out of the way first, there were a lot of issues in this episode with dimming and ghosting, which happens because of that infamous Pokemon episode which caused seizures in Japan or something. I vaguely remember hearing about this. But since then, animes during their TV broadcast and original run will dim certain shots, especially if it's brightly colored shots, such as when Mekumaru is shooting out those different colored beams, which are all following Mahito. So the ghosting in this case really did affect my experience watching it, because it made it very hard to follow, kind of like they did in One Punch Man Season 2, but I don't think this is really their fault per se. It's just the precautions that they have to take, but nonetheless, the animation looked really amazing for the majority of this. Not quite the regular Jujutsu Kaisen style animation. It felt a little different in some places, again like Evangelion, but it was good nonetheless. So yeah, just moving on from the whole ghosting thing, which will be gone on Blu-ray once that comes out. This was a really cool episode of Jujutsu Kaisen. This is a fun little fight from the manga that felt a lot longer in the manga, but I feel like that tends to happen, and it was even dragged out, I think, a little bit in this anime episode. Nonetheless, it felt very short and felt pretty one-sided. It was just Mekumaru shooting off all these special grade level attacks from his built-up cursed energy, just attack after attack, slowly dwindling down his years of cursed energy that he had saved up. Mahito dodging, transforming. There's a really interesting animation shot, one of the best I've seen probably in Jujutsu Kaisen, but that's just sadly dimmed. But I know on Blu-ray it's gonna look even better. It's Mahito running away from Mekumaru's beams while he's transforming. At first I think he's like a bird, he's a rat at one point, he's like a monkey or something, and he just keeps transforming, transfiguring, trying to get away. The camera follows him in a really interesting way, and it was really well done. I enjoyed that a lot. It's a very flashy fight, big explosions, and really only one domain expansion at the end before Mekumaru opens a simple domain and seemingly defeats Mahito. But it was too good to be true, as Mahito ends up surviving that. He breaks apart and then he breaks through Mekumaru's armor. Mekumaru, who here was actually preparing to fight Geto, which probably wouldn't have gone well for him anyways. With all his desperation, we see Mekumaru fighting against Mahito in close quarter combat, thinking about his friends that he wants to be with. Miwa, who also has a really emotional scene talking about how she really wants to be with him and go and meet him in person. And at this time, the scene cuts to black after they're both about to attack each other. And following this, we see the remnants of Mekumaru, showing that he's lost the fight. And I think this is the first major character death in the series, if I'm remembering, on the protagonist side at least. I don't remember another one happening. At least major. I think for sure this is the most major one. In season 1, you had that one character who Mahito was kind of like using, who ends up getting transfigured in front of Itadori, but Junpei, I think his name was. But regardless, this is definitely the most impactful one. We see his relationship with the other members of his class, and that he just really wanted to be with them and not have this distance between him and, you know, in his Mekamaru form, where he's just puppeteering essentially when he really has to just live in solitude. He wanted to be with everyone, and it's a shame that didn't happen. It was really just well done, showing the emotion within him in this fight. Nonetheless, though, this fight comes to an end, and then we move on to Shibuya, and it's already just super exciting to see this animated after waiting for so long. We get a quick rundown of what's happening. A bunch of people get sucked into the train station in Shibuya, and then on top of that, we see the veil slowly lifted over all of Shibuya. So this is only stopping normal citizens and regular people from leaving. Jujutsu sorcerers can enter, and all of the citizens are asking for Gojo, of course, and this is Geto and the Cursed Spirit's big plan is to get Gojo here, and we'll see what happens next. We see some other teams of sorcerers waiting outside of the veil. They're not going to interfere. They're going to leave this to Gojo to have him clean it up, because again, he is the strongest. So the episode ends with Gojo arriving in Shibuya, and I could not be more excited. Next week's episode might be the greatest in all of Jujutsu Kaisen, animated of course so far. It's some of the greatest manga content for certain, and it's going to be insane. So that's it for this video. Overall, I did really enjoy the episode. Animation wise, there were some issues where I feel like it was very flashy and hard to follow, made worse by the dimming and ghosting, but in Blu-ray it'll probably look better. I'm super excited for next week and the entire Shibuya arc, so if you did enjoy, please subscribe and comment your thoughts on the episode, and I'll see you all in the next one.